Bad Jove. I know this knife. It belonged to the Colonel. Old Colonel Reginald Hawking.
Here's a neat thing to notice about the Mrs. Hawking series. You may have seen that Mrs. Hawking's preferred weapon is a khukri, a handheld curved hacking knife that originated on the Indian subcontinent. They're designed for chopping tasks like reaping and brush clearing, as well as for close combat. The weapon is most strongly associated with the Gurkha warriors when they fought the East India Company from 1814 to 1816. When Mrs. Hawking first brings her knife to our attention, it's clear it's not something she uses regularly. When we first see her in action, in fact, she's actually carrying a straight knife. But when she takes it up for its utility on the upcoming mission, she refers to it as
the Colonel's old service knife. Leaving it was one of the few useful things he ever did for me.
We see it become integral to her practice over the next few episodes, given how versatile it is. It might seem like an unusual knife for English people to use, but in Gilded Cages, we learn that when Colonel and Mrs. Hawking met, he had just come to Singapore from fighting in India. And even though nobody mentions it when he first appears, what can the eagle-eyed viewer spot hanging on his belt? The khukri, implying that he picked it up on his previous campaign, what would come to be known as the Indian Rebellion of 1857.
The Battle of Gwalior in India. Last year where they put down the rebellion.
And it's at that point in history when the Gurkha warriors were pulled into service to the British Empire. Mrs. Hawking coming to own this knife demonstrates a small part of her own colonial history, and how she's benefited from it, whether she approves of it or not. And you can see all of these moments across the series here on our YouTube channel, @Mrs. Hawking.